entering a world of realization in exile, infinite balance. Infinite balance, giving you that energy from the cosmos to your center flows. Me, Golden Soul. And right now, for all the people just starting their spiritual journey, especially if you're going on the starseed path, this video right here is a good start, a good beginning, a good way of balancing out where you want to go in life. It's something that myself, I'm always learning. In my opinion, there's no master that's a master of anything. Everybody is learning. And if you think you're a master, it's a part of the ego. So this is a class that I seen on, I believe it was Everbritt. And it's a good start for beginner star seeds, people just starting their journey. And you get to see exactly where you need to start from or where you need to proceed afterwards. So hopefully you enjoy this and you can get some needed information. Stay blessed.
Simple presentation, which goes into the core aspects of human existence. Who are we? Why are we here? And how do we accomplish our life's mission? So I gave that presentation. I wasn't expecting much, but it turned out people liked that presentation and they wanted to learn more. So then I prepared a next set of materials and then they wanted more. And pretty soon it became clear to me that this is the path I am supposed to be on. Now, when I got started, I did not have any tools. All I had is knowledge. And here is the key. Knowledge is not really technology. Knowledge is merely a prerequisite to creating technology. And I did not have technology. So there was still this doubt and hesitancy in my path because I thought, I don't have any tools. I can teach people and give them some knowledge, but that's not going to transform their life. But anyway, if I'm going to start on this path, I might as well find out what tools are available for transformation. And that's where my search began to find a teacher. And fortunately, I ran into my teacher. His name is John Chandler. He's a direct disciple of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the teacher who started the Transcendental Meditation movement. So when I met John, he had been on the spiritual path for 50 years, and he had reached such a high state that he worked with Divine Mother, who you can think of as feminine aspect of Source. When he told me that he worked with Divine Mother, at first I didn't believe it because I thought, work with Divine Mother, can a human being even do that? The belief system I had then, in that system, I thought the best a human being could do is to pray to the divine and hope the prayers are heard. This idea of working with the divine was revolutionary. But John said, don't take my word for it. I'm teaching a class where you can get an energy from Divine Mother. So I said, okay, let's take the class. So when I took the class, I understood that he had a genuine technology of transformation. And that's where I started working with Divine Mother. And that was the next step in my evolution. And from there, I have created different tools that people can use for healing and receiving guidance and things like that. And my purpose now is to build a community of light workers so that we can work together to raise our own consciousness and the consciousness of this planet.
This right now, you can share.
Now, why did I share that story? The story is not really about me. The story is about you. The potential for spiritual transformation is inherent in every single one of you. And just like me, when you start, you don't know the possibilities, right? You might just see yourself as an engineer or a teacher.
I'm always learning.
Or whoever you are, what you do for your profession.
Me, myself, I'm always
But
learning.
I'm here to encourage you because you have gifts that you don't even know about. And if you would do just two things, you can develop those gifts and you can share them and bring light to our planet. And those two things are having the courage to listen to your heart, because it takes courage to follow your heart. And the second thing is pay the price of growth. To become who you need to be, to go from here to there, you'll have to make investment in yourself, right? You'll have to learn new things. You'll have to develop new skills. You'll have to work with some teachers, right? And all that process requires investment. And I hope you are ready to make that investment. That's why you are here for this workshop. So I'm here to encourage you. In today's workshop, I'll give you some tools that will get you started on this journey of spiritual transformation. And my hope is that you bring your full light out to shine in this world. So with that, let's get started. So here are the guidelines for this workshop. So first thing is be fully present and pay attention, because you'll get out what you put in. So it's important to pay full attention. If you have other browsers open, if you have your phone nearby, turn all those things off. For the next 90 minutes, just be here completely. Okay? And make sure you have a journal, because we'll be doing exercises which will help you go within. And for them, you need to write things down. Second, be engaged. When I tell you to write something down, just write things down, go within and write the answers, because those are the answers that will lead you to inner work. And finally, this is the most important part, which is think from a place of possibility, not limitation. Human beings have a tendency to think from their past, to take their past and create a present from that limited past. And the problem is you carry all the limitations of your past in your present and then in your future. If you want to transform your life, you'll have to do things in reverse. And the way you do that is you think of your ideal future, and from that ideal future, you create a present. And if you do that, your present becomes a bridge to your highest life rather than a baggage of your past. So we are going to do a very simple exercise, and that is, for the next 30 seconds, I want you to close your eyes. Just be here now. Just be in your body and think about your highest life. If you were living your highest life, what would that look like? What kind of health would you experience? What kind of work will you do? What kind of relationships will you have? What kind of contribution will you make? And what will be your inner experience of living in this reality? All right, open your eyes. Now, this was a very short exercise, but just by doing this short exercise, how many of you feel that the energy that you are in has shifted? Right? And you feel in a much better place now. Now, nothing outside of you has changed. You are still the same person. The outside world is still the same. But what has changed, as I said, is this field of possibilities, which is basically a way to connect to your highest life. So for the next 90 minutes, I want you to stay in this field of possibility and think of what is possible, not what is not possible, all the things that didn't work, all the ways you have failed. It doesn't matter. In this moment, you can create a new future. And my goal is to take you to that future. So here is the masterclass outline. So the first thing is we will understand the layers of transformation. Transformation is a long journey, And there are phases of this journey, and I'll tell you what those phases are. Second, cultivate effective practices. Third, learn about the technology of transformation. And fourth, I'll give you a special meditation that you can use to transform you from within. It's a channeled meditation from Divine Mother, who is the source of the divine feminine energy. And there is a powerful way it transforms you. So before we begin, the first thing we should learn about is learning itself. There are two ways of learning. There's a shallow learning, there's a deep learning. And in either way, what you do is learning has a standard process. You start with getting information. You use that information and reflect on that information and internalize it. But the third step is you have to spend time in application. If you do not apply, then what's the point, right? So here is what shallow learning looks like. People spend too much time getting the information. They spend little time on reflection. How does this information relate to what I already know? How do I apply this information? And then they spend very little time on application. And I'm guilty of this. When I got started on this path, I read a book. What did I do after reading that book? I read another book, and then another book, right? After a while, I had read so many books, but my life had not changed. And then I became frustrated. That's when I realized that it's not the book or the knowledge that's going to change my life.
It's the application.
It's how much I apply that knowledge that will change my life. So what we need to do instead of this shallow learning is we need to have deep learning. And this is how it works. You start spending little bit of time learning and getting information. You spend a lot more time in reflection, and you spend the biggest amount of time in application. So here is the breakdown. If you have 10 hours to learn something, spend 1 hour in getting information, 2 hours in reflecting on how that information works and how you can apply it, and then 7 hours actually applying, because you learn by applying. So in this workshop, my goal is not to give you too much information, because what's going to happen is you'll become overwhelmed with that information and you'll not apply it. And if you don't apply it, what's the point? We are just wasting our time, right? So that's why this workshop is going to be heavy on reflection and doing written exercises, because that's how you internalize what I'm giving you. Not by listening to me, but by writing things down, reflecting on it. So let's first talk about a core concept that I'm going to introduce, which is called the onion of transformation. If I could summarize my 30 years of spiritual journey, this is the core of what I have learned. And that is, transformation is like an onion. You start from the outermost layer, then you go within, and then you keep going within. The outermost layer is knowledge. This is where all of us start, right? We start reading books, watching videos, whatever we do. The problem with knowledge is, although it is necessary, it's not sufficient. If you just get stuck in the land of knowledge, you'll be in this learning loop where you learn one thing and then you learn another one, and you keep going in this circle without making progress. So the breakthrough happens when you realize that true transformation begins with practice. You have to take what you have learned and you have to ask, what are the practices I can cultivate using what I have learned? And once you start doing practice and you become consistent in your practice, your life will change. Because it's your daily actions that change the way you make choices. So it took me decades actually to work with these two layers. But there's a third layer, and that is the layer of identity. This is the layer at which you deal with your belief system. If you examine your choices, there is something underlying those choices, and that is a belief system. If you think about, why do I do what I do? Why do I choose the way I do? There is an underlying belief system that drives the behavior. And working with belief system, that's really the core of this inner work, because it's not easy. Sometimes you are not even think that your beliefs are the truth, even though beliefs are like tools. You can replace tools if your tools don't serve you. Lastly, now this is the deepest layer. Most of the teachers that you will learn from will take you through these three layers. They'll give you the knowledge, they'll teach you practices, they'll help you cultivate a better identity. But there are only a few teachers on this planet which will work on the layer of energetic programs. Now, in the world of computers, as you know, whatever happens in a computer comes from a program. It's the same way with the human system. There are deep energetic programs that create our behavior and tendencies. And in the tradition, the Eastern tradition, these are called samskaras. So these are programs that keep executing and they create the behaviors. There is a technology to work directly with samskaras and transform them. So this is the deepest layer of working with the energy system. And I'll give you an experience of a short meditation that works with samskaras, and you can see for yourself how that works. All right. Now, to be fair, if I were to take you through all these four layers, we'll be here for months, if not years. But we have 1.5 hours, and my goal is to give you the best and to get you started on the journey. I may not be able to take you all the way, but I'll get you started on the journey so that you have some tools to get started. So let's begin with the first layer, which is about spiritual knowledge. Now, if you search about spiritual knowledge, there is just too much knowledge. Much of it is just information, and it doesn't help you live an empowered life. But I'm going to go to the core of spiritual knowledge, and that is this question, which is, why are we here? If you understand the answer to this question, that will help you live an empowered life, because your purpose is driven by your understanding of why you are here, right? And I'm going to give you the answer to this, the deepest question of human existence. And the answer is evolution of consciousness. We are here to evolve.
Interesting.
There's a great book called Power versus Force, which was written by Dr. David Hawkins, who was a mystic and researcher. And he wrote about this scale of consciousness, which is an amazing tool to understand the human journey of evolution. So this scale is divided in 3 parts. Now, this is a logarithmic scale. What that means is the numbers you see are not linear. Somebody who is at the level of, let's say, 200 here versus somebody who's at 400. Somebody who's at 400 is hundreds of times more powerful in the way they live their life. So this scale is an amazing way to think about where you are going, and thinking about others also. So let me briefly talk about these 3 portions of this scale. The first is, that's the lowest portion, and this is life opposing consciousness. This is as if you are getting the energy, but you are blocking the energy. If you look at this scale, at the lowest level is shame. What happens to people who suffer from extreme shame? The answer is they commit suicide, either actively,
disease,
or passively, by not doing what's needed to sustain life. From that scale of shame, then you go up to guilt, apathy, grief, fear, and all of these up till pride. All of these are lower states of consciousness. Now you might think, why is pride bad? This is the kind of pride which separates. For example, if you think of things like religion, where people who are part of our group are good and people who are part of other groups are bad, and then it causes conflict, which eventually leads to violence and war and things like that. So all of that is part of life opposing consciousness. From this lowest scale, where we kind of resist this force of life and create problems for ourselves and others, you go to the next scale, which is the mid, which is life supporting consciousness. These are the stages of courage: neutrality, willingness, acceptance, and reason. Now, courage is the border, because once you really think about who are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to question whatever everybody else is doing and chart your own path? That's going to take courage. Once you have courage, that's where the doors start opening for you. And that's how you go to these intermediate stages. The highest on the scale are these states of love, joy, peace. And then the highest one is called enlightenment. Now, in his work, there's a huge scale that goes from 700 to 1,000. What that means is there are huge variations in the states of enlightenment. But the point is, the goal, as I'll go to the next slide. So the whole point is, you can look at your own life and you can think about, hey, where do I spend the most amount of time? Am I at the stage of love and peace? Or do I spend too much time in the energy of anger and fear? And it will help you gauge your own progress. Coming back to the question that we started with, why are we here? Here is why we are here. We are here to go from this consciousness of fear, desire, anger, and pride to higher states of peace, joy, and love. Everything you do has to be tied to this thing, this scale of evolution. All the knowledge you ever get, you have to think about, does this knowledge help me live a life aligned with love, peace, and joy? Things that you do, your spiritual practices, you have to think about, do they help me align with love, peace, and joy? And if you make this your choosing criterion, you'll make a huge amount of progress. All right, let's go to the next layer, which is practices. Now, here is the thing with practices. There are two pathways to change. There's a cosmetic change, and there's a structural change. Cosmetic change doesn't cost too much money. For example, if you want to change the look of a house, you can paint it with a different color, and the house will look like it's new, even though nothing has changed. It's the same house. If you want to do structural change, you will have to tear down that house, put a new foundation, and it's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of work. But if you do that work, you'll have a brand new house, which will help you for the next, 50, 100, 200 years. When I got started on my path, here's a mistake that I made, and I want you to avoid that mistake. And that mistake was, I found one way to change. I started making some progress. And then, inevitably, when the going got tough, and there was a lot of inner work that I needed to do, what did I do? I said, oh, this is too much work. Let me find something else. And then I found something else that I could do, and I went in a different direction. But what happened? The same thing happened again. After some time, the work became too difficult, and I said, oh, let me find something else. And I keep doing that. And what happened? I ended up exactly where I started. And this happens to a lot for people where they start on this path but then they keep making progress, but then they get distracted, they find something else, and then they find something. So don't do that. Find one thing and stick with that one thing till you see results. Don't be on the treadmill of change where every month there's a new flavor of the month, where this month you are learning this from this teacher. Next month, I'm not saying that you should not listen to different teachers. It's good to have well-balanced perspective. But the inner work, you have to be willing to do the inner work. So here is the core question that I want you to answer. And that is, are you willing to upgrade your core structures? Not just make cosmetic change. All of us can do that. But are you willing to go deep and do the inner work of transformation? And I want you to really take 10 seconds and think about, are you willing to do the work? I hope you are. Those of you who are willing and you're on the camera, raise your hand so I can see your hand. All right. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. So what are the core structures that we work with? Here are the structures. So at the core is an identity. What is an identity? This is how you see yourself. That identity gives rise to emotions. The way you see yourself determines the way you feel about things. To give you a very simple example, somebody cuts me off in traffic. I could get very angry and become really agitated. Or I could say, maybe that person is in a hurry. There is something going on in their life. Let me bless that person. It's the same incident, but the emotional reaction is completely different because it depends on my identity of who I am. Your emotions then lead to your choices. And if you keep making the same choices over and over, they become routine, which is what determines your life. So we are going to begin this quest of transformation. The first thing that we begin with is setting the intention. Your intention is like the blueprint. So before you want to create a house, you have to start with the blueprint. And it's the same way with your intention. So we are going to do a short exercise. And that is, what transformation do you intend in next 12 months? So bring out your journal or notebook, write down for 1 minute, what transformation do you intend? Now, write the first thoughts that come to your mind. Don't overanalyze. And that's why I'm giving you just 1 minute, because I don't want you to spend too much time and be in your head. All right. I hope you've finished your writing, and it should not be complicated. It should not be a huge thing. Write very simply about what one transformation do you intend. Now, here is the second part of the same exercise, and that is, what 3 internal changes are required to fulfill your intention? Because whatever you seek, you will have to change to become the person that can experience that kind of life. Okay. So that was, I hope that gives you a clear intention of what you want to create. There was question, internal changes being emotions. Yes, it is a layer of how differently will you have to think. What is the new belief system you'll need? What are different practices you will need to cultivate? And I'll go deeper into them, but I want you to get started with something. So if you want to share, we also have, I opened the meeting group chat to everybody. If you want to share, feel free to put it in the chat, just very briefly about what intention do you have? What transformation do you want to create in your life? And we'll give it just 10 seconds. And you can type for the whole chat. So don't just type, give me a direct message. You can type in the whole chat. Non-chat attachment, mindset, procrastination, and focus, more reflection. Thanks everybody for sharing. Okay, so what are the practices that will help you get there? And I'm going to talk about the core practices. Now, there is the world of practice, you go in layers. The practices that you start with as a beginner are different compared to when you become an intermediate light worker and then advanced. But here is the core of practices. You are creating your reality every moment. Now, you may not be aware of it. And if you're not aware of it, you may feel that you are a victim because the reality is being created for you by others. But the whole point of spiritual awareness is to see that you are creating. And even the things that you think others are creating, there's a component of that creation that happens within you. I gave you that example of that person cutting me off in traffic. Even in that case, I am the one who's creating my reality. So it's not about what others do to you. It's about what you are doing to yourself. And the more aware you are of that inner creation, the better creator you'll be. So here are the 4 practices that will get you started. The first one is eliminating toxicity. The second is upgrading your beliefs. The third is aligned with your purpose. And the fourth is managing your resources. And I'm going to go into all 4 of them. So let's start with the first one, which is eliminate sources of toxicity. And the reason this is where we start is because if you have toxic influences, no matter what else you do, that toxicity is going to prevent you from achieving your highest life. It's like this. If I want to grow a garden, but the soil is toxic, it doesn't matter what kind of seeds I have, how hard I work, the plants won't be able to grow. And it's the same way with human beings. If they are in a toxic environment and there is just too much toxicity around them, it's hard for them to make progress. So the basic 2 kinds of toxicity that most people deal with, the first one is information toxicity. An example of this is news. How do you feel after you watch the news? The answer is you feel agitated because they tell you about everything that's wrong in the world. And it's a business. Many of us don't understand that media is a business. The news channel makes money from advertisements. That money can only be made if there are people watching that news. So it's in their interest to get you hooked onto the TV. But what does it do to you? It lowers your vibration. Another example of this is social media, where this random world is open for you and you get lost in this distraction, and that takes away the time that you need for your own inner growth. The second course, the second source of toxicity is toxic people. These are people who carry this energy, low energy of victimhood and anger and jealousy and all these things. And you may not realize that you are an energetic being. If you interact with people with that energy, you actually take on that energy yourself. Now, the reason people stay in toxic relationships is because they do not have the courage. They choose security over what they really want. But you are here to go on this journey of transformation, right? So the first step is to let go of what doesn't serve you. So here is the exercise. What are the top 3 sources of toxicity in your life? Let's take a minute to write. It could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could be, I don't know, too much TV, whatever it is. Write it down so that you recognize where toxicity is coming from. Here's the next question. How can you remove or at least minimize the sources of toxicity? If you cannot completely remove, for example, if it's a family relationship, then you have to think about how to minimize the damage. If you have to disconnect cable, if you have to uninstall apps that don't serve you, what do you do to get rid of that toxicity? And those of you who want to share, if you want to share the sources of toxicity in your life, you can put it in the chat. Toxic family members, media, relationships, TV, job, overthinking. Yeah, whatever. But once you become aware, that awareness is the first step to getting rid of those toxic influences.
Right.
Thanks everybody who's sharing. Let's go to the next step, which is upgrade your beliefs. And here is the crucial thing to understand, and that is beliefs are tools, not truth. One of the biggest things we have to do as human beings is to understand what beliefs are preventing us from going to our highest life, and what are the alternative beliefs that we can have to live an empowered life. So when it comes to beliefs, there is an identity that your beliefs create. At the lowest level, it's the identity of a victim. A victim, things happen to victims. Now, this is the identity actually we are born into as human beings, because human babies have no power at all. Without parents and people to take care of the babies, they would die within a few days. So when we enter this world, we come in a very helpless state. But the whole point of growing up is to move out of that victim identity and learn to appreciate and use our power. And that is the second state, which is the identity of a creator, where you begin to see, okay, I can change things. If I don't like something, I can learn new things. I can, if I'm not happy with the relationship, I can either change it or I can change the relationship. So that is the second level, which is creator. But there is a next level, which is the level of light worker. And that is, you know yourself to be a being of light, and you start to spread that light to others. And this is where true power and
Right.
true fulfillment are experienced.
Exactly.
When you are not just stuck in your own little world, but you begin to reach out and you begin to serve and help others. So that is the level of light worker. So the question, of course, you have is, how do you change your belief system to go from this lowest level of victim to go to creator and hopefully to light worker? And the answer is, it's not a simple process, and it's also not an easy process. If you think about your own belief system, it has taken you decades to create that belief system. Now, most of us acquire the belief system from our parents and people in authority, people in our church or whatever. And we just take the belief system that they have without really analyzing whether that belief system is empowering or disempowering. So, what you can do is start a habit of reading, because what reading does is it exposes you to new ideas and new ways of thinking. So there is a reading list that we
Been
have.
lucky enough
I'll
not
put a link
to
later in the chat
absorb
on
past
childrenofinfinity.org
beliefs of
/ recommendations.
parents,
So this
etc.
is the list of books. There are about, I think, 30 or 40 books. And these are the best books that I have read in my last 30 years of spiritual journey. And what these books will do is that they will help you create an identity of creator, becoming aware of how you are creating your experience, and then how you can take that experience to go to becoming a light worker. Here is the exercise for this section. So first thing is, what limiting beliefs prevent you from living your best life? You might believe that you are too old or too young or not attractive or not educated, or that you have failed too much, or you had a bad childhood or whatever, right? All these are just stories. And if we keep telling ourselves these stories again and again, they become our truth. So the first step is to be aware of what these limiting beliefs are. So write down in your journal, what limiting beliefs prevent you from living your highest life? If you want to share in the chat, feel free to put it in the chat. The second part is, create a routine to study spiritually empowering material. And your routine might be just 15 minutes before going to sleep, or 15 minutes while in the morning, or it might be 30 minutes of listening to Audible, where you can get access to audiobooks while you drive, or you do your workout, or you do your dishes, or whatever. Just incorporate it in your schedule, tied to things that you're already doing. So, for example, for me, when I work out or when I do the dishes, that I just listen to audiobooks. Childhood abuse, fear. Thanks for sharing. Let me put the link for the books. Okay. Let's go to the third practice, which is aligned with a higher purpose. All of us have what I call biosocially programmed purpose, and then we have a higher purpose. Our biosocial program is about fulfilling the biological and social needs. In my case, it was about getting an education. Why did I get the education? So that I can have a good job. Why did I want a good job? So that I'm secure, right? And that was the purpose of my whole life before I went into spirituality. A higher purpose is about your unique abilities, what gifts you have, and how you can cultivate those gifts. So let's talk about how to align with your higher purpose. First of all, so what are the things that we can understand in terms of our higher purpose? So there are three things. Number one is cultivate your gifts. Each one of you has unique gifts that you are here to give to this world.
Superpower.
It's going to take work to cultivate them. They are not just free, right? I had to do years of work before I became a teacher. Then I had to do again years of work before I became a channel for Divine Mother. But it made so much sense looking back because it brought so much fulfillment and purpose to my life. Second is pursue joy. Now, joy is an internal state of being. I'm not talking about pleasure here. I'm not talking about socially conditioned things like success. I'm talking about something deep within. What brings you joy? And you have to make sure that you stay in that frequency of joy. Do whatever you do. It might be music. It might be, I don't know what is it for you. It might be working with your hands or creating something. Whatever it is for you, you have to think about what are the things that bring me joy. And you have to create time to experience joy. And lastly, serve. Our highest calling on this planet is to learn how to serve, is to help others. So these three things are broadly what your purpose is all about. Let's do an exercise. What is your higher purpose? Write down whatever comes to your mind. To be happy and healthy. Great. If you want to share, you can put it in the chat. Follow my bliss. Teaching children, music, dancing. Amazing. So this is the next step. What steps can you take to fulfill your higher purpose? And I'm going to take 2 minutes for this one because, for example, somebody said teaching there, right? So what steps? You'll have to grow your gifts. So for example, when I got started as a healer, my first step was to learn about healing. It was to learn about different healing modalities, learn about different teachers, and it took me some time just to even learn about healing. Once I had a path, then I had to do dedicated practice. So for your case, what are the steps that you will need to take to follow your higher purpose? Let's take 2 minutes to write it down. All right. So how exactly are you going to follow your purpose? What you need to do is to reclaim your resources for growth. All of us have 3 resources. We have time, we have attention, and then we have money. How you use these 3 resources is going to determine the quality of your life and what you create, the experiences you have, what gift you give to this world. Now, when it comes to using resources, there are 4 ways we can use our resources. The first way, which is the best way, is to invest them in growth, in inner growth, in becoming a better, more empowered human being, in becoming a channel of light, right? The second way we can use the resources is for rejuvenation. We cannot work 18 hours a day. We need to have a balance, and we need to take adequate rest and rejuvenation. And this is also an investment. If you do not do that, you burn out, and then you fail to accomplish your life's mission. Then the third way is sustenance. These are the details of life that need to be taken care of. Like if you have a car, you need to get the tires changed, whether you like it or not. So all of us need to have time allocated to sustenance. If we do not do that, they become an emergency, and then we will need to spend even more time. If you take care of your body with daily exercise, you might need to invest only 30 minutes a day. But if you become sick, then you might lose weeks or months. So all 3 of these are necessary. However, there's a 4th quadrant. That's the quadrant of waste. This is the time we spend mindlessly. Now, I'm not saying you don't get entertained, but there's a difference between mindful consumption of information and watching a movie, that's good, versus sitting in front of the TV and watching this binge watching for 10 hours, right? So here is how, if you look at these four things, you can automatically see the opportunity for improvement. And it's very simple. Take your waste quadrant and distribute the resources from that quadrant to growth, rejuvenation, and sustenance. And here are the steps. The reason most of us spend so much time in the quadrant of waste is because there's a programming around us, right? It might be a TV channel that is addictive. And as part of being in this capitalistic society, we are constantly bombarded with things that we don't need, but we are told we should have. And what that does is it wastes our mental energy and our money, right? So instead of being driven by this socially programmed behavior, we need to think of, do I really need these things? Do I really need to invest my time and money in these things? And if you do that, that will give you the resources to invest in yourself. Second, nurture your spirit daily with empowering practices. All of us eat every day. Because if you don't do that, if you don't take care of the body, it becomes sick and you feel pain. But how about nurturing our spirit? Just as we invest 18 hours a day taking care of the body, how about investing 15 minutes to 30 minutes a day nurturing our spirit? And that is the heart of spiritual practice. And third, allocate at least 2% of your income for growth. This is the area where I see a lot of improvement can be made for most people. Because when it comes to investing in themselves, they don't do that. They would happily invest in other people's products and buy things from other people, but they don't invest in themselves. And it's like this. If you go to a doctor and you ask the doctor, so where did you learn your medicine practice from? And the doctor says, oh, I didn't go to school. That thing costs a lot. I just watched some videos on YouTube. Would you go to that doctor? No, right? So it's the same way with inner growth. If all you are doing is using free tools, when are you going to become a professional and invest in your growth? You might need to buy books. You might need to buy audio programs. You might need to invest in courses or workshops and conferences. And let me tell you a quick story about this. About 20 years ago, when I was new to this country, I came as a PhD student and I used to make $800 a month. A friend of mine called me and he said, there is going to be this great workshop in Dallas, Texas. The cost of the conference was $100 and transportation and staying there was additional $100. So total $200. That is 25% of my income, but that's not all. I was actually in tens of thousands of debt at that time. Because when I came to this country, these companies sent me these offers where I could spend money without paying it. And I said, wow, what a deal. And pretty soon I was in this deep debt. So I told him, I said, I don't have the money. I can't go. He listened patiently to me. And then he asked me a question. He said, if you don't go to the conference, how much will that cost you? Now I thought about that question. I said, what a strange question is that? But then I understood that if I went to the conference and my life changed even 1%, over the course of my lifetime, that little improvement is going to give me tens of thousands of dollars, if not more. So I asked him, okay, I want to go, but I don't have the money. What do I do? And he said, the first thing is to ask yourself an empowering question. And that empowering question is, how can I invest in myself? Instead of saying, I don't have the money. So when I asked myself that question, how can I invest in myself? I found a way. And that was I could tutor high school and college kids for $10 an hour. I did that for 20 hours. I made the $200 and I went to the conference. And that was the best investment I made because by attending that conference, I learned how to take care of my finances and I paid off that tens of thousands of credit card debt. And not only that, it changed the kind of direction of my life because I learned the power of personal improvement. They taught me that I need to invest every day an hour in reading and learning. So I said, okay, I'm going to do that. And the last 20 years, that has resulted in 500 plus books that I have read. So I am a completely different person with all that inner growth. Had I not gone to that conference, I wouldn't be here. So that is the power of investing in yourself. And I want to encourage you to invest in yourself. Here is the exercise. What activities belong to your waste category? And when I say activities, it also includes money that you are spending on things. What kind of subscriptions that you have that don't add value? What kind of habits you have that don't add value? So take a minute to write out what activities belong to your waste category, because those are the things you'll need to eliminate. Okay, and the next question is, what growth opportunities do you need to invest in? What do you need to learn? What do you need to master to live your highest life? Are there conferences or workshops or courses that will help you do that? All right. Let me summarize the key takeaways. The one idea I want you to take away is you have to manage your growth commitments. Growth is not an automatic process. It is an intentional process. And the way you can make sure you are on that intentional growth journey is, number one, make a daily investment in inner growth, 15 to 30 minutes a day. Second, have a weekly reflection time to think about your life purpose. Your life purpose changes as you grow. And it's important for you to be aware of that life purpose and invest in that life purpose every week. So take a time, maybe it's on a Sunday, in the morning or whatever. Find a time where every week you are going to spend maybe 5 minutes about thinking about what is my life purpose and what can I do to live my life purpose. And third, invest money to acquire skills. To live your life purpose, you are going to need specific skills, whether you want to be a teacher or a healer or a leader. So here are the exercises. Schedule time for daily and weekly growth rituals, and then set aside money to invest in your growth. A simple commitment. Okay, every morning I'm going to meditate for 15 days, 15 minutes. Every week I'll spend 10 minutes thinking about my life purpose and what can I do to live my life purpose. And I will invest 2% of my income learning about what I need to learn. So let's take a minute, write down these commitments.
Interesting, I just know them offhand. And I just do them offhand too.
Okay, let's go to the last part of the workshop, which is about the deepest layer of transformation, and that is transforming your energetic patterns. Now, as I said, in most workshops and most teachers, they do not work with the layer of energy. And I didn't work with this layer for, I would say, 20 plus years. But eventually I found the technology. So I want you to think of meditation as a technology. To give you an example, let's say if you want to meet a friend who lives 3 miles away, right? What are your options? The first option you have, if you do not have any technology, is you'll need to walk. If you do that, it's going to take you 1 hour and it's going to take a lot of physical effort. The second option is you might have a bike. Now, bike is a very primitive technology. It's a mechanical technology, okay? So you'll have to still invest your own energy to move forward. However, you only need 20 minutes and there is only little physical effort. Or you can have really advanced technology like a car. It takes you only 5 minutes and it takes almost no physical effort. So this is the power of technology. It can simplify the effort, it can give you results faster, and that's why we use technology in all aspects of our life. Let's talk about spiritual technology. So similar to physical technology, there is spiritual technology. The lowest part is people who don't meditate. When you don't meditate, what happens? Your growth is very, very slow. It's like taking a walk. There's a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time, and there is very slow progress. The next layer is what I call contemplative meditation, where you work with this practice of working with your mind. Okay? It might be, for example, a breath meditation, or it might be working on a form or a shape. And all of these things are working with the mind. However, there is a advanced type of meditation which is called energetic meditation, and that is working directly with energetic programs. So as I said, contemplative meditation is about using the mind. Energetic meditation is about using energy. And here is why it's so powerful. You are made of energy. Your cells in your body, the atoms and molecules, they are actually forms of energy. If you know about Einstein's equation, which says E equals mc squared, what that equation means is matter is energy. The cells in your body are a form of energy. But not only that, according to advanced spiritual technology, your thought patterns are also a form of energy. And the example I want to give you is think of a computer. So the mind is like a computer. In a computer, how do you see what you see? The answer is you have a program. The program executes and creates an output. It might be a sound, it might be what you see on the screen, whatever it is. It's the same way with the mind. So in Eastern philosophy, there are these programs which are called samskaras. And what samskaras do is they create the behaviors. There is a technology to work directly with these samskaras. And I have learned that technology by my connection to Divine Mother. As I said, think of source as this energy field. When that energy field begins to manifest, the first split in that field happens in terms of divine feminine and divine masculine. And Divine Mother is the divine feminine aspect of source. And her energy can intelligently transform your underlying patterns. So what I'm going to give you is a taste of that technology, because we can talk about it, but unless you experience it, it doesn't make sense. We are going to do a meditation called forgiveness and healing. And we are doing this meditation because all of us need to forgive somebody in our life or forgive ourselves for all the things we have done in the past. So this is a short meditation, only 10 minutes long, but it will put you in touch with Divine Mother's energy, and you can experience the energy yourself. So before getting started, let me do an invocation. So Divine Mother will be with us.
I actually
and then
already
just close your
did
eyes
something.
and we will
Actually
do
did
the
exactly
meditation.
this.
Dear Divine Mother, who comes in the name of divine truth, wholeness, love, compassion, and totality, please be with us now. Please be with everybody on this call and on the recording. And please transmit energies that are appropriate for each person's evolution. Thank you. Sit comfortably with your spine erect and the body completely relaxed. If you are sitting in a chair, put your feet flat on the floor. Set the intention to forgive and heal. Gently close your eyes. Let's begin with an invocation to Divine Mother, who's the feminine aspect of Source. Dear Divine Mother, who comes in the name of divine truth, wholeness, love, compassion, and totality, please be with us now for the purpose of forgiveness and healing. Please guide this process so that it unfolds in the highest way. Let us prepare the space for energetic work with 3 cleansing breaths. Take a deep breath through the nose and imagine that the incoming breath opens your heart chakra. Exhale through the mouth and imagine you are expelling all energies that have low vibration. Take another deep breath through the nose and imagine it opens your heart chakra further. As you exhale through the mouth, imagine that you are expelling all energies that do not align with your highest purpose. Take the third deep breath through the nose. The breath opens your heart chakra completely. As you exhale, you are now in a clear space that enables you to connect to higher dimensions. As you relax, become aware of your body and your heart. As you focus on the heart, imagine a speck of brilliant white light at its center. This speck is the light of source energy. As you examine the speck, it begins to grow. It becomes a ball of light which fills your heart and heals it completely. Slowly, the light expands in your torso, arms, legs, and head. It fills your entire body. The light heals and purifies your body at the cellular level. You now realize that you are a being of light, timeless and indestructible. Your human form is merely a garment. I now ask the divine light of forgiveness and healing to infuse your energy field. The light empowers you to see your human journey from a higher awareness. From the higher awareness, you realize that all the hurts and the resulting negative emotions you have experienced are merely illusions. You are ready to see past these illusions and heal the deepest core of your being. As you recognize yourself as a being of light, you realize that all who have played a part in your journey are also beings of light. These include your parents, teachers, family members, and everyone you have interacted with in this lifetime or other lifetimes. They might have hurt you because they had forgotten their true nature. You are now ready to heal your relationships. Think of one person you want to forgive. Imagine a silver thread extending from your heart to the other person's heart. This thread is the thread of karma, which binds you to the other person. I now ask Divine Mother to transmit the energy of healing grace. The energy travels from your heart to the karmic thread, cleansing, purifying, and healing it. As the energy moves toward the other person, it restores your relationship and makes it whole. The energy has reached all the way to the other person's heart and healed it, which completes the healing of your karmic thread. Affirm to the other person, I forgive you and myself for the disharmony between us. May both of us be released from negative karma. The affirmation completes the process of healing and forgiveness. This deep healing has become part of your being and will stay with you forever. As you experience healing grace, deep gratitude arises in your heart. You realize that all that is has supported you unconditionally and will forever support you. Thank Divine Mother for the healing. Thank the universe for giving you the gift of human experience. Now, slowly bring your awareness back to the body. You're back in your body now. Take a minute to slowly come out of the meditation. When you are ready, gently open your eyes. Take a minute to come out slowly, and if you have water nearby, drink some water to integrate the energy. Welcome back, everyone. How was the experience of the energy? If you want to share in the chat, you can put it in the chat. Very calming, eye-opening. Thank you. Very emotional. Yes. So when this energy reaches the heart, it begins to unlock trapped emotions, which might have been stuck there over many, many years or even lifetimes. And that's why it makes people very emotional. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so with that, we are done with the workshop part. You have the tools to get started on your journey. Now, let me ask you a question. How many of you would like to learn more about some other tools I have? Because I have created a special kind of program, a year-long program to take you on the journey of transformation. If you would like to learn about that, we can spend next 10 minutes. Okay, I see me and me. So here are the next steps. I have created a program called A Year of Spiritual Transformation. And the reason I have created that is my goal is not to just sell you some tools. What I've seen is people get the tools, but after a while, they are not motivated to use the tools, and then it's a waste. My goal is to guide you on a journey of transformation, to take you so far ahead compared to where you are. And that's why I have used everything that I have learned over the past 30 years and compacted it in a year-long program, which is called A Year of Spiritual Transformation. It has 6 breakthrough tools. And these are, the first one is you get access to 12 divine energies from Divine Mother. Each one of these energies is like a puzzle in living your highest life. So for example, we did a little bit of healing today. There is a more advanced version of that healing that you'll get access to. And there are other energies like worthiness and so on. Let me just tell you about one energy of worthiness. If I look back at my journey, at every stage of my evolution, I had to first feel worthy before I could do what I wanted to do. When I started, I didn't feel worthy of becoming a spiritual teacher because my background is in engineering. I thought, who's going to listen to me? When I became a channel, for a longest time, I did not actually channel the energy, even though I was capable of that, because I did not feel worthy of channeling Divine Mother's energy. I thought it would only happen to my teacher who has been on this path for 50 years and not for me. So I have had to first feel worthy to claim my gifts. And it's the same thing that will happen for you. So the way we work with these energies is you get one energy every month. So this energy is like an intelligent seed. You use that seed and then you grow your seed with daily practice. And then we have live weekly community meditations every week when there is a group meditation and you nurture that energy in a group meditation. So these meditations happen twice a week. So on Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time and on Saturdays at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. So we have created these two slots so that wherever you are in this world, you can take advantage of a slot that works for you. The second tool is called the channel of divine healing. So we experience Divine Mother's energy a little bit today. If you want the full experience, there is a channel, and this channel is like a live installation. So Divine Mother is going to install that channel in your energy field. And this channel acts like a pipeline. Once you have the channel, just like you have tap in your home, you turn it on and you get water. It's the same way with the channel. You turn it on and you get healing. So there's a special meditation once the channel is installed. I'll give you a special meditation which connects you with Divine Mother's energy and receive healing on demand. So you can listen to this meditation once, twice, however many times you want, and you can get the healing that you need. The third tool is a channel of divine guidance. Again, it's also a channel, so it has a live installation. What this channel does is it helps you connect with your higher self so you can get guidance. Let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years back, I was living in the Northeast, and the energy was kind of out of harmony. It used to get very cold and depressing during the winter. So I asked my higher self, what should I do? And the answer was move. Where should I move? To Southern California. Now that was a crazy answer because Southern California is one of the most expensive places to live. And this was during those crazy bidding wars here. But instead of listening to my mind, I listened to my intuition, and we flew one way 6 hours from New York to here to look at some houses, make some offers. A house just came on the market. We were the first ones to see it. And fortunately, we met the owners and we made a personal connection. In one day, there were 17 offers on that house. Some of them were better than our offer, but the owners, since they had a personal connection with us, they went with our offer. And that's how I moved to this place. So that's just one example of what's possible when you listen to the guidance from your higher self. And you are going to receive this channel, and then I'll teach you how to talk to your higher self using the process of automatic writing. The third tool is an in-depth course for spiritual empowerment. It's called 8 Weeks to Spiritual Transformation. Because spiritual empowerment is not just about learning how to meditate. It's about learning how to manage all aspects of your life, which include money, health, relationships, how to follow your life purpose. So we have 8 modules. Every week, we go into one aspect of empowered living so that by the end of those 8 modules, you have all the pieces. And what this course is it's an in-depth course with weekly live calls. So for each module, you get daily lesson. You can do the lesson on your own. But then at the end of the week, we meet together and we talk live about what you learned, what things need clarifications, and so on. And this course is going to run from March to April. So it starts on March 2nd, and it will go till end of April. The next course is called From Success to Significance. The evolutionary leap that you'll need to make on this path is to understand that the purpose of life is not success. It is significance, which comes after success. So this course will help you go from success to significance. Once again, it's a modular course where every week we talk about one module. It will help you cultivate practices, and then we get together every week live. And this course runs from July to August. And the last course in this year of spiritual transformation is called Leadership for Light Workers. And the reason I have created this course is all of you are meant to be leaders. Now, many people do not have a correct idea of what leadership is. They think leadership is about this masculine aspect of power and control. And that's why they shy away from leadership. But true leadership is about serving, which is a feminine quality. And all of you can serve. And that's why all of you can be great leaders. So our goal is to give you the tools you need to become spiritual leaders. Once again, this course is a 2 month course. It will go from October to November. Now, this is the question that I know all of you have, which is this free? If it's not free, why don't you give this away for free? And here is the answer. In my journey, what I've seen is from 2019 to 2023, I gave away everything that I created for free because my purpose is to serve. And here is what happened. When I offered a version of this course first around 2020, 200 people signed up for that course. 25% of them didn't even show up for the first meeting. And as the course progressed, they kept dropping out. By the end, they were like just a few people. Now their lives were changed. But I wondered what happened to all these people who wanted transformation, but they did not show up. Same thing happened the next year and the next year. Finally, I had the sense to talk to my mentor and I asked him, what am I doing wrong? And he said, Dr. K, you are doing these people a great disservice by offering your tools for free. Because for them to get results, they need emotional investment. How much emotional investment do they have if they get things for free? And the answer is none. That's why it's very easy to quit. So I have made a leap in my understanding, and that is, we are not in the business of charity. We are in the business of empowerment. If you want to live your highest life, you are going to need tools. Where are you going to get the tools? My goal is to give you the tools at the best value that you can find anywhere. And that's why this is a paid program, but it is an exceptional value that you get. So first, let me talk about the value, and then I'll talk about the cost, because of course, the cost is much less than the value. But here is the value. If I put together these 6 components of this program, usually divine energy is similar to what I'm giving you, costs like $100 per energy. So you are getting 12 of those energy, which usually costs $1,200. You have 2 divine channels, which are worth $300. You have the 8 weeks to transformation course. Typically, these courses where you are interacting with a community cost $399. You have the second course and the third course. The total value of everything that you are getting is close to almost $3,000. But as I said, my goal is to give you exceptional value. So we are doing that by giving you a discount and giving you at a fraction of the price. The normal price for this course is $497, but we are running a limited time promotion where you can get all of these things for a payment of $297. My goal is to make it as affordable as it can be. So let me type the address where you can sign up. Now, those of you who cannot make one payment, there is also a payment plan available. So you can pay these over the cost of 3 months. So you pay $107 every month, and then you pay the whole course for 3 months. Before we go forward, this course comes with an unconditional 30-day guarantee because I'm not here to get your money. I'm here to transform your life. Try this. If it doesn't work, within 30 days, you get everything that you get everything back, no questions asked. Now, let me ask you a question, and that is, what is spiritual transformation worth to you? Really think about, remember we talked about your highest life. If you could live your highest life, what is that worth to you? Because that will determine if this course is worth investing in. And the other thing is, it's not even about money. See, every 2 weeks you get a paycheck and you have some money to spend. What it's really about is time. The time that you lose is gone forever. It's not going to come back. How much time will it take you to learn everything that I'm sharing with you on your own and then implement it? Here are a couple of testimonials from people who have taken advantage of this program. So first one is from Susie. She says, Divine Mother's energy has healed my childhood trauma and a lifetime of alcohol abuse. No other tool is as effective. The second one is from Carmen. The community by itself is worth more than the course fee. Let me take a couple of common questions that people have. The first is, why is the price so low? Some of you might have worked with healers. A good healer will charge you $100 to $200 an hour. I'm giving you a year of my life, pretty much, which includes at least 100 hours of working with me through these weekly meditations and courses for a fraction of that price. Why am I doing that? The reason I'm doing that is I have a mission to create thousands of light workers. And for that, I need to have a broad audience. So my goal is to help you experience transformation yourself. Once you can experience that, then you'll be part of this movement. Second, common objection people have is, I don't have the money. I told you the story about my own journey where I felt I didn't have the money. And as I said, you have to ask yourself, how can you invest in yourself? Because if you don't invest in yourself, what happens? Life continues to be the same, right? This possibility of transformation is kind of gone. The third common question people have is, I'm not sure if this will work for you, work for me. So you might have thoughts about, as I said, you're too old or too young or educated, uneducated. You may feel you are not sensitive to energy. All these stories, if you keep telling yourself, they become your truth. So the question is, we went to that field of possibility in the beginning, right? Think about, what is your highest life? If you think about that highest life, what tools do you have to make that highest life happen for you? So let me once again and I'll be answering questions. Just give me 1 minute to finish this presentation. We are actually at the end of the presentation. I'll end with these two words, the most powerful words, what if? What if you could live your highest life? And I'll end with this picture. Apologies if some of you feel that I'm just selling this thing too hard. And that's because you don't know what I'm offering. Only I know what I'm offering. What I'm offering is Divine Mother's grace. And it takes, for a typical human being, 20 to 30 years of work on the spiritual path to reach that stage where you can get Divine Mother's grace. And I have the technology to give you at a fraction of that time. So that's why I really want to do my best to help you understand the value of what I'm offering. But I'll end with this image from my favorite movie, The Matrix. Do you remember this picture of the blue pill and the red pill? And this is not just about the Matrix. If you look at any hero's journey, the journey always begins with the hero making a choice, either to go on the journey of transformation or to stay back in the ordinary world. So my recommendation and my hope is that you go on this journey of your transformation and take advantage of this opportunity. So with that, we are done. I would be happy to answer any questions that people have. Any questions you have about the program, about the weekly meditations or anything, feel free to put it in the chat. I think we have about 5 to 10 minutes where I'll be happy to answer any questions. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. Since there are still like 54 people, just put it in the chat and I'll be able to answer it from the chat. I'm reading through these comments. By the way, some of you wanted an accountability group. So Children of Infinity, which is the organization that I have, as part of this yearly course, you will also get an accountability group. And the best part is you will get it with people who are committed on the spiritual journey. One of the biggest problems I've seen with accountability groups is people get all excited, but they are not committed. And pretty soon, the whole group disappears. So those of you, if you invest in the program, after we are done with the 8 weeks course, you'll have the basic tools. And there is an accountability program that we offer as part of your growth. Do you have any other questions? I'll be happy to answer. There's a question about weekly meditation. So every week we get together to work with Divine Mother's energy. These meditations are on Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. and on Saturdays at 7:30 a.m. So every month there is an energy from Divine Mother that we work with. We have these weekly calls to come together in a group setting to work with that energy. And that will go for the entire year. There's a question from Marlene. So if you are already an existing and paying member of Children of Infinity, you get these for free, depending on your program that you are enrolled in. Question from Donna. Are we still having the Sunday morning sessions? Yes. So the courses, which are these 8 weeks courses or 7 weeks courses, we meet together for them on Sundays at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So we spend about 90 minutes every Sunday to discuss the module, to answer any questions or anything you need. Question from Ilona, where can I find your courses, Meetup or Eventbrite? So everything we do on Eventbrite, these are all free events which are available to you to get to know our purpose and our path. The actual description of the courses, if you visit this course page, which is the registration page, when you go there, it will tell you what the 6 courses are. So they give you more information. Question from JYC, is the group still active on meetup.com? So there are different marketing channels we have. At this point, I think the most active one is on Eventbrite. There's a question from Sylvie. I've been on a spiritual journey for over 50 years, and at this stage, some of your goals and intentions seem out of reach. I've been on many paths, but I feel some reluctance. Again, it's about technology. Unless you work with Divine Mother's technology, it's hard to understand what it's capable of. So the question I have for you is, what did you feel when you did that meditation with Divine Mother? Did you feel the energy? Did you feel a shift in your energy? And if you did, we'll be working with that energy at a much kind of higher intensity through this course. Yes, the times are in Pacific time zone. There's a question from Michael. for a young adult who is very rational and logical, but fearful to take action, what are the first things they can do to break out of the safety mold and live a more courageous life? If you want to, again, at some point, you will have to have the courage to leave your past life behind and move into the new life. If you do not yet have the courage, the first thing I recommend is to read, which will help you believe in your capabilities and that we live in a friendly universe. The reason people are so afraid because their fundamental model of reality is of a universe that is unfriendly and dangerous. So the first step is to cultivate a model where you can see that this universe is friendly and it's here to support you on your spiritual journey. If you have that energy of trust, then you are not afraid of anything and you begin to move forward. But if you do not have that trust, invest in reading books and understanding how life paths work. So I put the link to the reading list, I think some time ago. You can start reading the books that are listed there. All right, we are almost out of time. Any final questions? If there are no more questions, I really appreciated being with you and being your guide. And I hope you take advantage of this opportunity. If not, take advantage of something. Don't let this year go by without transforming. And those of you who are not yet ready to invest, there is a workshop that I have on next Saturday. It's called A Healing Day with Divine Mother, where you'll get to experience Divine Mother's energy at a higher intensity. So I invite you, and it's a free workshop. So I invite all of you to join that, and I hope I'll see you there. So with that, thanks everyone for joining, and I hope I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
And thank you for like watching this channel in preceding of what we were just watching here. I put this on because, in my personal opinion, there's no master of anything. I see people saying they're Reiki masters.
Recording stopped.
Recording stopped. See people here saying that they're Reiki masters, masters of this, masters of that. Me personally, I'm always learning. Even if I get to a point where I'm a so-called master, actually I would never be a master because I'm always learning. If I'm going through Reiki and I get to a pinnacle, always be learning from other people. There's always new things to learn on the heart. So there's always new things to learn on the head. There's always new things to learn everywhere. And I'm trying right now to implement that into anybody watching this right now that just going on their spiritual journey. In my spiritual journey, that's one thing I'm just learning from. I don't know if it's from up above or just intuition, is that every day you're learning. And that's how you expand upon yourself. And that's how everlasting youth happens. And that's how just being the highest version of yourself happens. There's truly no master. Master of anything is a version of egoism, in my opinion. So anyways, thanks again for watching it. I want to put this on here for all the newbies that's just getting onto their spiritual journey. This is the first time I heard of this particular person that you see on the screen, but he's an alright person. There's some things on here that's very beginner stagery, which is good for people just starting on their spiritual journey. So anyway, everybody that's going on a spiritual journey that watched this, hope this is very informative, and you could see more from this person if you go to Everbrit, I believe it is. Like he said, there's another class going in around, well, next Saturday. So hopefully you'll check it out to continue the spread of your highest version. So everybody out there, for the north, south, east, and west, stay blessed, and more blessed.